In a quiet town surrounded by old roads and wandering traders, there lived a man named Euro. He was not poor, nor was he rich by the town's standards, but he feared poverty more than anything else. It was a fear that lived in his bones, older than his beard, sharper than winter wind. Every coin he earned, he saved. Every opportunity to spend, he refused. He ate the cheapest grain, boiled thin until it filled his belly but not his heart. He wore the same brown tunic year after year, patched until the original cloth had nearly vanished. When his bucket split, he bound it with rope. When his sandals wore through, he lined them with straw. Even when repairs cost more effort than value, people nodded and said, "Euro is wise. He thinks of the future." But Euro did not think of the future. He feared it. Behind his house stood a small room with no windows. The air inside was still and heavy, smelling of iron and dust. In the center sat a heavy iron box, scarred by years of use. Every night, after the town's lanterns dimmed, Euro lit a single candle, opened the box, and poured his coins onto the table. He counted them one by one, lips moving silently. Then he polished each coin until it gleamed, the sound of metal touching metal. Clink, clink, clink was the only lullaby that gave him peace. "This," he whispered to the darkness, "is safety." One evening, as the sun painted the hills in copper, a knock came at Euro's door. A young traveler named Jack stood there, cloak dusty from the road, eyes tired but kind. "My lantern has broken," Jack said, holding up the cracked frame. "May I borrow one coin to buy oil? The night is dark, and I will repay you by morning." Euro's hand moved toward his pocket, then froze. One coin was nothing. His box held hundreds, but his fingers trembled. What if he never returns? Euro thought. What if this one coin opens a door to loss? What if giving becomes a habit and the box grows light? Fear rose in his throat like bile. "I have no extra coins," Euro lied, his voice barely a whisper. Jack studied him, then nodded politely. "May your night be safe," he said, and walked away into the dark without a light. That night, Euro counted his coins longer than usual, twice, then a third time. But for the first time, the sound of metal brought no peace. It sounded hollow, like a bell ringing in an abandoned temple. Weeks later, Euro's only niece, Raha, was to be married. The town prepared. Ribbons hung from doorways, musicians tuned strings. The smell of roasted meat and sweet bread drifted through the streets. Euro arrived at his sister's house as the sun set, his hands empty. "A small gift?" his sister asked gently, hope flickering in her tired eyes. She had raised Raha alone after her husband died. "Weddings are expensive," Euro replied, folding his arms. "I must be careful. The future is uncertain." He stood in the corner and watched. Others gave what they could. The baker brought a honey cake. The carpenter brought a carved chest. The old widow brought a woolen blanket she had spent months weaving. Raha, radiant in her mother's dress, smiled at them all with tears in her eyes. But when her gaze passed over Euro, it slid away as if he were not there. That night, Euro added another pile of coins to his box. The iron lid groaned as he shut it. Yet the windowless room felt smaller than before. The walls seemed to lean inward. Years passed. The town changed. Children grew and had children of their own. Euro grew old. His back bent like a question mark. His hands shook so badly that polishing coins took until dawn. But his box grew heavier. He had to reinforce the floor beneath it. One morning, pale light slipped under the door. He opened the iron box and heard a faint whisper, not the familiar clink. A crack had formed at the bottom, thin as a hair. A few coins had slipped through and rolled into the dust. Euro fell to his knees, joints screaming. He scrambled between the floorboards. When he finally held the fallen coins, he turned them over in his palm and realized he could not remember why he had saved them. Not for travel. He had never left the town. Not for family. He had turned away from Raha. Not for kindness. He had denied Jack light, only for the box. The box had become the purpose. That evening, as cicadas sang, an old scholar named Kale, passing through town, found Euro sitting on his step, staring at his empty hands. Kale's robe was faded, but his eyes were clear. He sat beside Euro without asking. "You have lived long," Kale said softly. "What did your money give you?" Euro opened his mouth. No answer came. His throat was dry. All those years, all those coins, and he had nothing to say. Kale nodded. "Water kept in a sealed jar grows stale," he said. "Seed locked in a chest never becomes a tree. Money saved without purpose becomes a weight, not a shield. Tell me, Euro, what is a shield that you never raise?" That night, Euro did not sleep. He did not count. He listened to the silence in his room. For the first time, it sounded like loneliness. At dawn, Euro unlocked the iron box. He carried it, straining, into the town square. People stopped and stared. Children pointed. The box he had guarded like a secret was now in the open. Under the sun, he went first to the carpenter who had once repaired his roof for free. Euro pressed coins into the man's calloused hands. "For your time," Euro said. "For your kindness." The carpenter's eyes widened. He bought a dozen lanterns and hung them at the edge of town. "For travelers," he told the shopkeeper, "so no one walks in the dark." He found the schoolhouse where the roof leaked. He paid for books, for ink, for a teacher to stay through winter. The children's laughter when they opened the crates was a sound he had never owned. Day after day, the box grew lighter, and day after day, Euro felt taller. His back was still bent, but his chest was not. People greeted him by name, not as the man with the box, but as Euro. Raha, now a mother, brought her son to meet him. The boy climbed into his lap. When the last coin was gone, when the iron box stood empty and echoing, Euro sat in the square and watched the sunset. The lanterns flickered to life one by one. A warm breeze moved through town. He smiled. For the first time, he was rich. Money is not meant to be locked away in fear. It is meant to move like blood in the body, giving life, strength, and purpose. Saving without meaning creates poverty of the soul. Hoarding turns wealth into a prison where the warden and the prisoner are the same man. Spend with wisdom, give with generosity, live with intention, or wealth will own you instead of serve you.